But this time, it's not gonna be easy match for sure, because he's a number one right now. He's a guy who make me work more hard because he's a real contender.
Recently, Islam Makhachev joined Demetrius Johnson on a podcast to break down the challenges Arman Tsarukyan presents in their highly anticipated rematch. During the podcast, Islam Makhachev also shared how training under Khabib Nurmagomedov's influence pushes him to his limits. He explained that when Khabib is with the team, there are no easy days. Although the training schedule might include light activities like a 30-minute jog or rest, once they hit the gym, it's intense. Islam does 12 rounds on the boxing bags, followed by running, and it's always challenging. The next day, they spar at 10 a.m. with no shortcuts, just hard-focused work.
Khabib with us in the camp, you don't have too much options, you know. Today, honestly, we start to, like with the team, we start one guys to go, Khabib, maybe tomorrow sparring, we can some rest, some rest.
Yeah.
Okay, you just go to the light and do like 30 minutes running.
Yeah.
Okay, like easy training, you know.
Yeah.
But when we came to the gym, 12 rounds is the boxing bags, and after everybody run, it's not easy, you know.
Damn.
And tomorrow, 10 in the morning, we have sparring. This guy, he don't know is other way. Just one way, hard work.
Islam said it's always hard, but he knows he will be ready 100%. He says he just believes in Khabib and does what he says. Islam said that Khabib has a lot of experience in the sport and knows how things should be done. He says that's why everyone listens to him in training. Islam said if you want to be a champion, you have to follow the same path that champions take. He says this is why everyone listens to Khabib during training.
Come on. 3 minutes, one guy,
it's
3
good,
minutes.
You know, it's hard always, but I know I will be ready 100%. Just believe him. Just did what he say, and that's it. This guy, he have big experience in this sport. He know how it's working. That's why everybody, how he say, shut up and listen him in training. If you want to be champion, you have to follow the way what the champs did, you know. That's why everybody listen him in the game, in the training.
However, Islam said that when he fought Arman Tsarukyan for the first time, he may have underestimated him. At the time, Islam didn't know much about Tsarukyan. The event was in Russia, and organizers were struggling to find an opponent willing to fight him there. Islam was told that a fighter with a good record would be his next opponent, but he didn't watch Tsarukyan's fights. Islam was confident that no one from outside the UFC would present a real challenge, especially with Tsarukyan's wrestling skill.
Honestly, maybe I'm underestimating him because this guy just... I saw him in UFC. Because in the Russia, nobody want to come to Russia and fight with me. It's the event in the Russia. It was in Russia, and they're looking for some opponent, you know, for me. And like before 1 month, they call me. We will sign some guy. He have good records. He's gonna be your next opponent. And in my mind, I think who is gonna come like out and from UFC and give me like
a hard time in wrestling.
But I don't watch his fighting, you know. He come and we have very good fights. I won all 3 rounds.
Islam said that even though he won all 3 rounds, Tsarukyan proved to be a tough fighter. Over time, Tsarukyan has improved a lot, gaining more experience in the UFC. Islam acknowledged that Tsarukyan's wrestling, striking, and grappling have gotten better, but he still believes his own skills are superior in each area. Islam doesn't see anything that would surprise him in Tsarukyan's style or skills.
But right now, he improved a lot, of course. He have more experience in UFC, have a lot of fight in UFC, but if you ask me, I'm true, you know. I see his style, I see his skills. I don't see something what make me surprised. Because he have good wrestling. I have same. I have better than him. He have striking. I have better than him. He have grappling. I know my grappling is better.
However, Islam said that the upcoming match won't be easy. Tsarukyan is currently the #1 contender and will push him to work harder. Islam knows that Tsarukyan's wrestling is strong, and they'll likely engage in both wrestling and striking during the fight. Islam believes this will be a very exciting match for MMA fans, as it will be a showdown between the champion and the top contender.
It's not gonna be easy match for sure, because he's a #1 right now. He's a guy who make me work more hard because he's a real contender. He have good wrestling. We're gonna wrestle. We're gonna strike. It's gonna be a very good match for the MMA fans, you know, because now It's a champion versus like #1 contender.
In a recent conference, Arman Tsarukyan said that when it comes to his upcoming fight with Islam Makhachev, winning is his only focus, no matter how it happens. He emphasized that his ultimate goal is to be a champion, and the best-case scenario would be to knock Islam out.
With Islam rematch, I'm going to win. Doesn't matter how. I just need to win the fight because I want to be a champion. And the best case scenario is knock him out.
Arman Tsarukyan reflected on his growth since his first fight with Islam Makhachev, explaining that after that bout, he went on a 10-fight winning streak. He hasn't lost any fights since facing Islam, which took place 5 years ago. Arman believes he has gained a lot of experience during that time, and his skills have been improving consistently. He feels that with each training camp, he gets better, and that this current camp is stronger than the previous ones. Arman is confident that his progress will continue, and he envisions himself becoming an unstoppable fighter in the next 3 to 4 years.
What do you think? I fought like 10 times after that fight, and I feel like 10 winning streak I have after that fight. I didn't lose any fights from Islam fights, and like it was 5 years ago. I got a lot of experience, my skills. I'm like getting better every day. I feel it, and like every camp, every camp I get better, so I feel this camp I was better than last one and like previous one, and I'm going up. I don't know what's gonna be in like 3-4 years. I'm like gonna be like unstoppable fighter.
Arman mentioned that there are only about 3 to 3.5 months left until the fight with Islam. He has been training hard and is taking a bit of rest before diving back into full training for the fight. Arman is focused on the upcoming bout, determined to be fully prepared and ready to beat Islam Makhachev when the time comes.
Since that 3 months left or 3.5 months left, and I was training so hard, and like I gotta rest a little bit and then come back and have a full training camp and beat Islam Makhachev and be ready for that fight.
Bilal Muhammad said that Islam Makhachev is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He believes the rematch with Arman Tsarukyan won't be like their first fight. As Islam will show, there are levels to the game. While Arman is great, Bilal thinks Islam has grown much more and is on another level.
Islam and Arman? I got Islam. Islam, I think, is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And I think it's going to be kind of like the same. It's not going to be the same thing as the first fight, because that first fight was very close. I think Islam's going to show that there's levels to this, and I think he's grown way more than Arman. Arman's great, but I think Islam is at another level.
O'Day Osborne admitted that his prediction might be biased because Arman Tsarukyan is a friend of his. He expressed his admiration for Arman's fighting style, calling it exciting and intense. O'Day believes Arman is a dog in the cage and thinks the sport needs some new faces, which is why he's backing Arman for the win.
It's going to be a biased prediction because Arman is a friend of mine. I do love how he fights. So I'm going to say Arman. I love how Arman fights. It's super exciting all the time, and he's a dog. And I think we need to see some new faces, so Arman.
Colby Covington said that he believes Arman Tsarukyan can get the job done. He pointed out Arman's athleticism and flexibility, noting how impressive it was that he escaped Charles Oliveira's choke. Colby praised Arman's aggression and resilience, saying he dug deep during that moment. He also mentioned that Arman has a great coach, which adds to his belief in him. Colby believes Arman has big power in his hands, and if he trusts those hands, he could potentially knock out Islam Makhachev.
I do think he can get it done. I think he's an athlete. Look how flexible he is. Look how he got out of that choke with Charles. That was impressive, man. He dug deep for that. And, he's got a better coach. He's got a great coach. So, I believe in Arman. He's an athlete. He's got big power in his hands. If he believes in those hands, I think he could knock out Makhachev.
Randy Couture said that Islam Makhachev is currently at the top of his game, and anyone stepping in the cage with him better be prepared. He described Islam as firing on all cylinders and at his peak. Randy expressed his satisfaction that Islam is facing tough opponents, as it will be a real test. He added that it will be interesting to see who can impose their will in the fight, as that will be the key to victory.
Well, Islam is at the top of his game right now, so you better strap him on tight if you're stepping in with him right now. He's literally firing on all cylinders and at his peak right now. So I'm glad he's getting tough fights like that. That's going to be a real test, and it'll be interesting to see who goes out and imposes their will, because that's exactly what's going on.
Mark Coleman said that he loves Islam Makhachev's fighting style and is going to pick him for the win. He believes Islam is already close to being in the GOAT conversation and will be there soon if he keeps pushing forward. Mark described Islam as fantastic and amazing, adding that he reminds him a lot of Khabib.
Yeah, I love that one as well. I'm going to go with Islam. You know, he's right up there in the GOAT conversation. Pretty soon he'll be there if he keeps plugging away. But he's just fantastic, amazing. Reminds me a lot of Khabib.
Billy Quarantillo called the upcoming rematch between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan an exciting fight. He noted that Arman took the first fight on short notice, which may have caught Islam off guard, but believes Islam is on another level. With a full training camp, Khabib, and top coaches supporting him, Quarantillo is confident Islam will be better prepared and win the rematch.
Man, that's going to be an exciting fight. I think, Arman took that last one on short notice, but I still think Islam's going to get it done. I just feel like he's on a different level than Arman, and I think, Arman taking that on short notice actually kind of helped him, because I think it kind of threw Islam off a little bit. Now that he's going to have a full training camp with Khabib and with all those guys that are in his camp, I think Islam is, I think he's going to take that one.
Paul Craig stated that it's difficult to dethrone the Dagestani fighters due to their unique and effective fighting style. He believed the fight would likely go in one direction, with Islam Makhachev continuing his dominance as the champion. Craig emphasized the consistency and strength of the Dagestani fighters, showing his confidence in Makhachev's ability to retain the title.
I don't think there's anybody going to dethrone these Dagestanis. I think they're just, their style is beautiful, and I do believe that it's going to go one way, and there's going to be the champ's going to stay the champ.
Brandon Gibson believes Islam Makhachev is the rightful favorite, citing his championship experience, especially in the fight against Charles Oliveira, where Islam showcased his strength under pressure. Gibson expects Islam to dominate in the rematch with Arman Tsarukyan, utilizing his grappling, and doesn't think the fight will be as close as their first encounter.
I think Islam is rightfully the favorite. He's racking up that championship experience. In the bout with Poirier showed his championship character, like being able to really dig down deep in those later rounds, despite the cut, despite being wobbled. I think Islam's really growing as a champion, and I think we won't see such a close rematch between those two. I think Islam shows domination and showcases his grappling once again.
Joaquin Buckley expressed uncertainty about the outcome of the rematch, stating that neither fighter has a clear advantage. He's curious to see the changes Arman Tsarukyan has made for the second fight. While acknowledging Islam Makhachev as a dominant champion, Buckley still picked Islam to win, though he recognized the fight's uncertainty due to Tsarukyan's hunger to become a world champion.
I don't think anybody got anybody's number, to be honest with you. So, we'll see what Arman has changed up and what he will do different, in this fight, in the second one that's coming up. But, for me, I think Islam is just, just a dominant champion right now. So I would just, pick, Islam just because. But, you never know. Especially when you got somebody that's hungry and determined to become a world champion themselves.
Joshua Van shared his excitement for the fight, praising both Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan's talents. He noted Islam's growth with each fight and highlighted Arman's strong performance against Oliveira. Despite recognizing their strengths, Van saw the fight as a 50-50 matchup, reflecting its unpredictable nature and his excitement for a competitive showdown.
Ooh, that's going to be a great fight. Islam is getting better at each fight, and the guy that you just mentioned, he's very good too. His last fight against Oliveira, right? Yeah. That was a great fight too. So I think this is like a 50-50 fight.
Curtis Blades believed Islam Makhachev would win, pointing to Islam's toughness and experience against tougher opponents. He stated that Makhachev has faced and defeated harder challengers, giving him confidence in Islam's ability to win. Blades added that for Arman Tsarukyan to win, he would have to prove him wrong, but ultimately picked Islam.
He's already shown he's got the fortitude. Not to say Arman hasn't, but I guess Islam, he's hunting against harder guys. He's already shown me he can do it. So I guess Arman would have to prove me wrong.
But yeah, I'll go with Islam.
Jamal Hill talked about the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, noting that Tsarukyan has been looking strong and working hard, making it an interesting match that could go either way. Still, Hill believes Islam should be the favorite, stating that Makhachev is currently the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Hill emphasized that Makhachev's great performances have left no doubt about his abilities, and he fully supports Islam being favored in the fight.
I've seen Islam. He's been out here the last couple of days. He looks big. He looks strong. He's been working. But Arman's been putting together. I believe it's an interesting fight. It can go either way, you know, and I just can't wait to see it.
Islam's the favorite. Do you think he should be the favorite in the fight?
Yes, 100% he should be the favorite. He's a pound-for-pound best fighter in the world right now, and his performances have left not much room to doubt him, you know, so yeah, he should be the favorite, but at the end of the day, it's a fight.
Adrian Yanez called the fight a dream matchup due to the contrasting styles of Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. He reflected on how close their first fight was, especially considering Arman took it on short notice. Yanez admitted uncertainty about the rematch, believing Makhachev's dominant run gives him the edge, but wouldn't be surprised if Arman won. He added that the fight's storyline makes it one of his most anticipated bouts.
Watch and not really break down just because I don't know what's exactly going to happen, but just because of the run that Islam's been on, I'm gonna go Islam, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arman took the win. That one for me is more like to me that's a dream matchup, dream fight. Just two styles, you know. It was a very close fight the first time they fought, so especially on Arman's short notice, it was a short notice for Arman. So for me, I'm just like, man, I want to, like, just the storyline behind it is gonna be amazing. So I can't wait for that fight.
Austin Bashi expressed that he is picking Arman Tsarukyan to win the rematch, remembering how Tsarukyan gave Islam Makhachev a tough time when they first fought, despite being just 22 years old. Bashi thinks that this time Arman has the chance to win.
You know, I got Arman actually in that one. The first time they fought, Arman, I believe, was like only 22 years old and gave him a real good run. But this time around, I think he could pull it out.
Michael Chandler spoke about the first fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, calling it a close and exciting battle in many people's eyes, though he admitted he hadn't watched it. Chandler praised Tsarukyan's impressive win over Charles Oliveira and his rise in the lightweight division. Despite this, Chandler was confident that Islam Makhachev would retain his title, citing Islam's dominance, improved skills, particularly his striking and grappling, which make him the best lightweight in the world.
I think if you look at history and their first fight together, obviously it was a barn burner. It was pretty close in a lot of people's eyes. I don't know if I've actually watched that fight. I've just heard from people that it was close. But you know, Arman obviously beat Oliveira last fight. Arman has been charging forward. I think right now I will be surprised if Arman pulls it off. I think Islam has continued to solidify himself as the best lightweight in the world by far with his performances. And I have no problem saying that. His hands are getting better. He just outstruck Poirier. He can outgrapple anybody.
Chandler also admired the deeper reason behind Makhachev's fighting spirit, noting that Islam fights not just for titles, but for something bigger like representing his village, country, religion, and honoring the legacies of Khabib Nurmagomedov and his father. Chandler believes this emotional side to Islam's journey makes his story special.
And I think he truly is doing it for more than just the punches, kicks, knees, and elbows and being the UFC champ and the glitz and glam. He's got something deeper that he's fighting for. He's fighting for an entire village, an entire portion of the country, an entire religion, and an entire legacy for himself and also Khabib and Khabib's father. So it's something special. It's a beautiful story, and I think Islam's going to get his hand raised. And I think it's once again the perfect story that for me to avenge the loss against Oliveira and then fight a guy who's even more highly regarded than Charles Oliveira, and that's Islam Makhachev.
Daniel Cormier said the first fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan presented a tougher challenge for Islam at the time. Although Islam won convincingly with scorecards of 30-27 and 29-28, Cormier pointed out that people often expect Islam to dominate so thoroughly that any fight where he faces a challenge feels like a loss. He highlighted Islam's impressive streak, finishing top fighters like Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski twice, and Dustin Poirier in his last 4 fights, showcasing his dominance in the lightweight division.
So for me, I like the fight because it represented a tougher challenge for Islam at the time when they fought.
Yeah.
Granted, on 2 fight cards, Islam won 30-27. On 1, it was 29-28. I believe that Makhachev falls victim to expectation. he's been so dominant that if you are able to compete with him in any way, it seems as though you did better. Bro, he shut Dustin out and submitted him. And the story was Dustin Poirier. I mean, this guy, Islam, has finished Charles, finished Volk twice, and then just finished Dustin Poirier in his last 4 fights. That is a crazy number.
Cormier further noted that Arman Tsarukyan has improved since their first encounter and believes he can beat Islam with a full training camp. Cormier sees both fighters as the 2 best lightweights in the world and considers the rematch crucial. While Islam has been dominant, Cormier believes this will be his toughest challenge yet. However, he emphasized that Arman still needs to prove he can defeat Islam, despite not having a full camp in the first fight.
But when you think about Arman Tsarukyan, he has constantly improved, and he has said since the first time they fought, the moment he got another opportunity, he was going to beat Makhachev because they didn't have a training camp to do that. I think these are the 2 best lightweights in the world. I've watched these guys time and time again separate themselves. And when you separate yourselves, you have to find that equal. You just generally don't get it when 2 guys are kind of running parallel to each other. Makhachev has looked amazing, but I do believe this is the biggest and best fight for him, unless he was doing something different in another weight class. But when Arman Tsarukyan has to still down, go and beat a guy that beat him last time, right? I know he wasn't 100%. I know he didn't have a full camp.
Beneil Dariush shared his thoughts, stating that he believes Islam Makhachev will win the rematch. He acknowledged that Islam tends to slow down in his fights, which is well known, but pointed out that Arman Tsarukyan slowed down even more in their first encounter, giving Islam a significant advantage. Dariush also mentioned that if Arman were to win, he would likely need to do so early in the fight, as he doesn't see Tsarukyan winning a 5-round battle against Makhachev. While he recognizes Arman's potential, Dariush gives Makhachev a 60-40 edge in the fight.
I think Islam's going to win, and the reason why I think that is because, Islam slows down in his fights. What I'm saying is nothing new. Everybody knows that. But when they fought, Arman actually slowed down more than Islam. So I think that tells you that that's a big advantage. Because in my opinion, if Arman wins, he would have to win early against Makhachev. I don't see him winning a 5-round fight against Makhachev personally, but I could be wrong. But I do think Arman has the ability to win. If I had to put a number on it, I would say it's like 60-40, and I'm leaning towards Makhachev.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.